Have you ever noticed a younger woman look at you a second too long, like she's trying to figure something out about you? Not the playful glance she gives the boys her age, but that quiet, curious stare that lingers. She can't quite place it, but something about you feels different. Or maybe you've felt it in a room full of people, that subtle shift when you walk in. Men get quieter. Women seem a little more aware. Not because you're showing off, not because you're loud or trying to dominate, but because you carry yourself like a man who has nothing left to prove. You don't chase attention anymore. You don't pose to impress. You've simply lived enough life to stop performing for validation. And that right there, that stillness, that quiet strength, is what the world finds magnetic. See, what most men don't understand is this. True male attractiveness doesn't fade with age. It deepens. Because youth shouts, but maturity whispers. You've been through storms, heartbreaks, victories, and losses that carved wisdom into your soul. Your calm isn't emptiness, it's control. Your silence isn't weakness, it's power. And your presence doesn't need to be announced because it's felt. The world, especially women, sense it instinctively. It's not your looks, it's your energy. It's the way you walk slower, speak less but mean more. The way your eyes reveal experience instead of neediness. So today we're breaking down 6 subtle signs you're an attractive older man, even if you don't realize it yet. By the end, you'll see that what you thought was aging isn't the end of attraction, it's the evolution of it. 1. You radiate unshakable calm, the silent signal of power. There comes a time in every man's life when his energy changes. In your youth, you were full of noise, quick to argue, eager to prove a point, desperate to be seen. You believed attraction came from motion, from chasing, performing, reacting. But as life unfolded, you discovered something deeper. Maybe heartbreak stripped your ego, maybe failure humbled you, or maybe time itself, the great sculptor of masculine character, shaped you into something stronger, quieter, more deliberate. Now when chaos hits, you don't crumble. You don't rush to defend your pride. You take a breath. You observe. You decide. That calm you carry, it's not an act. It's the residue of every trial you've survived. And here's what most men never realize. Women notice it instantly. They might not be able to explain why, but they feel it. When you walk into a room, something shifts. You don't move fast or speak loudly, yet your presence fills the space. Your energy says, I'm in control. That calm is the quiet language of power. In a world addicted to noise and drama, control is magnetic. Women instinctively seek safety, not the kind that hides behind walls, but the kind that can walk through fire and remain unshaken. When you speak, your tone is measured. When challenged, you stay grounded. When insulted, you don't take it personally. That kind of restraint disarms people. It demands respect without force. Because true confidence isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. Here's a truth most men only understand after years of living. Calm is the loudest form of strength. A younger man's energy screams, "Notice me." An older man's calm whispers, "You already do." And that whisper carries infinitely more weight. Your calm doesn't mean you've suppressed emotion. It means you've refined it. You've learned the art of response over reaction. And that single shift separates men from boys. Every scar, every loss, every night spent facing pain without distraction, all of it forged this stillness. You became calm through the storms you endured, through arguments you chose to walk away from instead of winning, through betrayals that taught you silence can speak louder than revenge. That's the paradox. Your peace was born from chaos. Your stillness was shaped by motion. And now your calm isn't emptiness in its anchored presence. It's the kind of energy that steadies those around you. In a world of uncertainty, you've become a safe harbor. You're not trying to impress anyone. You simply are. You don't chase validation, you embody it. You no longer react to the world. The world reacts to you. That's why women are drawn to your presence without fully understanding it. Your calm communicates competence. Your stillness says, I've seen life. I've been tested. And I'm still here. That's what makes you attractive, not your youth. Not your appearance, but your command of self. Because mastery over your emotions, your reactions, and your energy is the most magnetic trait a man can possess. Your calm isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It tells the world you've fought battles most will never see. And you've won the one that matters most, the battle within. And that, my friend, is why your calm doesn't just show maturity, it reveals mastery. And mastery is irresistible. So your eyes carry depth, the kind that comes only from experience. There's something about the eyes of an older man. They tell stories even when the lips stay silent. You've lived through heartbreaks that shattered illusions, victories that built pride, and moments that humbled you back to truth. And somewhere along that journey, your eyes changed. Not in shape, not in color, but in weight. When a woman looks into your eyes now, she doesn't just see a man. She sees a history. The eyes of experience are calm, steady, observant. They don't dart around the room searching for attention, they study. They don't carry the restless hunger of youth, they carry understanding. You've learned that not everything deserves your reaction. Not every beauty deserves your pursuit, and not every silence needs to be filled. That understanding gives your gaze a rare, gravity one that makes others feel seen without you even trying. Women notice it first. It's subtle, it's silent, but it's powerful. When she meets your eyes, she feels something she can't put into words, in a blend of curiosity, comfort, and mystery. It's not lust. It's presence. Because when you look at her, you're not scanning her body, you're reading her energy. You're not impressed by surface, you're drawn to substance. That alone separates you from the crowd. Younger men often approach women with excitement. You approach with awareness. You don't rush to charm, you observe. And that observation is intoxicating. Your eyes tell her, I've seen enough to know what matters. I've been hurt and healed, so I'm not afraid of depth. I can understand you without you needing to explain. That's what makes the gaze of an older man magnetic. Because in a world obsessed with filters and facades, depth is rare, and rarity breeds desire. Here's what psychology says. We are drawn to people who make us feel understood. When a woman feels that from you, not through words, but through your eyes, she can't help but wonder about the story behind them. And that curiosity becomes attraction. You see, the beauty of growing older is that you no longer chase novelty. You embody wisdom. And that wisdom shows up in how you look at people, how you pause before you respond, how your eyes soften when you listen. That's your quiet advantage. Because youth offers energy, but experience offers depth. And in the end, it's depth that holds attention long after looks fade. So if people often tell you that your eyes are intense, mysterious, or different, take it as a sign. They're not seeing age, they're seeing understanding. And understanding is the highest form of attraction. First, you've mastered the art of not chasing, and that changes everything. There was a time when you chased. You sent the double texts. You overanalyzed her silence. You fought for attention that didn't want to stay. You thought attraction was built through effort, that if you just said the right things, looked the right way, tried hard enough, she'd choose you. But then life taught you the hardest, most liberating lesson a man can learn. You don't chase value, you become it. Now you don't chase because you choose. You're no longer running after energy that's not aligned with yours. That shift alone makes you powerfully attractive. Why? Because women feel energy more than words. And when your energy says, I'm content without you, it creates intrigue. It's not arrogance, it's abundance. You've learned that validation from others is temporary, but respect for yourself is permanent. So you've stopped bending to impress. You've stopped begging for attention. You simply live, and let those who recognize your value gravitate toward it. That's the paradox of mature attraction. When you no longer need to chase, you start to attract naturally. You've reached a stage where your focus is on purpose, not people. You're busy building, creating, growing. You've learned that a man with a mission doesn't need to pursue validation, because purpose itself makes him magnetic. And here's what's fascinating. The moment you stop chasing, women start wondering why you aren't. That mystery flips the dynamic completely. Because while most men are desperate for attention, you're selective. While others react to beauty, you evaluate character. It's not that you don't care, it's that you care selectively. And that selectiveness, that restraint, makes you more desirable than any superficial charm ever could. The energy of a man who doesn't chase is confident, grounded, intentional. He speaks less, but when he does, it carries weight. He doesn't play games, he sets standards. That's why when you do show interest, it hits differently. It's not casual, it's chosen. A younger man might give his time easily. But your time, your attention, that's earned. And women sense that. They can feel that you've evolved past the need for approval. You've tasted rejection and realized it doesn't define you. You've walked alone long enough to know solitude isn't loneliness, it's strength. That's the quiet power of an attractive older man. He's not chasing anyone, because he's already found what others are still looking for, himself. And that's what makes your presence so magnetic, because you've mastered what few ever do, the art of not chasing and still being chased. 4. You have emotional control, the hallmark of true masculine maturity. There's a quiet power in a man who can stay calm when everything around him is falling apart. You see, when you're young, emotions run wild. Anger feels like strength. Impulse feels like passion. But as you grow, you realize control isn't about suppression. It's about understanding yourself so deeply that chaos can't move you anymore. That's the mark of a truly attractive older man, because women, consciously or not, test men's emotions, not to play games but to feel safety. When she pulls away, when she throws sarcasm, when she acts distant, she's not always being difficult. She's watching how you handle it. Does he crumble? Does he react? Or does he stay composed, grounded, centered? You see, your emotional control tells her everything about your inner world. If you can remain calm under pressure, she knows she can lean on you. If you stay grounded when things go wrong, she feels safe to be vulnerable around you. You've learned, the hard way, that emotion is energy. And if you let every emotion dominate your actions, you become a slave to impulse. So you trained yourself through heartbreak, through loss, through mistakes to pause. You respond instead of reacting. You think before you speak. And when you do speak, your words carry weight. That's what younger men don't yet understand. True masculine strength isn't loud. It's composed. When a woman tries to get a rise out of you and you simply smile, that's dominance. When someone insults you and you respond with silence, that's power. When life throws chaos your way and you move through it without losing your center, that's mastery. You're no longer led by emotion. You lead through it. And women feel that, because deep down every woman wants to feel emotionally safe. Not because she's weak, but because safety allows her to open, to soften, to trust. And when you bring that calm to her storm, she feels it in her body. That's why your emotional control is your greatest weapon. Not because it hides emotion, but because it directs it. You've become the eye of the hurricane, untouched by the winds that destroy lesser men. And in that calmness, you found something no money or looks can replace. The peace that makes you powerful. That's what makes you an attractive older man, and not muscles, not youth, but mastery over your inner world. 5. You've stopped trying to impress. And that's exactly why you do. There's something magnetic about a man who doesn't need to prove himself. You see it immediately in how he walks, how he speaks, how he handles attention. He's not performing. He's being. When you were younger, you might have tried to impress women. The right words, the right clothes, the right smile. You thought attraction was built on effort. But now you've realized effort isn't what impresses women. Authenticity does. You've stopped playing roles. You don't exaggerate stories to sound interesting. You don't pretend to be perfect. You've made peace with your flaws. And that's what makes you so compelling. Because nothing is more powerful than a man who's comfortable in his own skin. You see, confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most grounded. It's the way you sit, the way you look at someone, the way you speak without needing to dominate the conversation. When you no longer seek validation, you radiate it. Your worth doesn't come from who approves of you, it comes from how you carry yourself. And women can feel that instantly. They can sense that your confidence isn't built on attention. It's built on identity. That's what separates you from the rest. Most men seek approval. Few command it. You've learned that when you stop trying to impress, you stop repelling authenticity. Because now you attract people, especially women, who resonate with your energy, not your image. You've probably noticed it, people listen when you talk now. Not because you're louder or smarter, but because your words feel real. And in a world full of pretending, real stands out. You can walk into a cafe wearing simple clothes, and yet your presence carries more weight than someone dressed to the nines. Because confidence is silent, ego is noisy. You've reached a point where you no longer need to convince anyone. You're valuable, you just live like it. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. You know what you won't tolerate. That self-respect, that quiet peace within yourself, that's what makes women turn their heads, even if they don't understand why. Because a man who doesn't need validation becomes the man everyone wants validation from. And that's the paradox of attraction. When you stop trying to impress, you become irresistible. 6. You inspire respect without demanding it. The final mark of true attraction. Respect, it's not something you ask for. It's something you become. And by now you've probably noticed, you don't need to demand it anymore. When you speak, people listen. When you walk into a room, people naturally straighten their posture. That's not about intimidation, it's about presence. You've lived enough to understand the value of integrity. You keep your word, even when it's inconvenient. You do the right thing, even when no one's watching. You lead by example, not by noise. That's why men respect you, and that's why women are drawn to you. Because true masculinity doesn't roar, it radiates. You no longer chase dominance, you embody it quietly. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." That's you. You're not talking about being a man, you're living it. You've learned that leadership isn't control, it's composure. Power isn't about making others fear you, it's about earning their trust. And respect doesn't come from words, it comes from consistency. When people see you, they feel that consistency. You're not swayed by gossip, trends, or emotions. You're steady, the kind of man who brings order where there's chaos. And that's rare today. That's why younger men look up to you. That's why women feel safe, intrigued, and inspired by you. Because you're not just attractive, you're anchored. You've built a foundation on discipline, patience, and truth. You don't need approval to act right. You don't need applause to stay firm. Your strength isn't loud, it's felt. That's what true attraction looks like in a man who's evolved beyond ego. When you live with respect, you attract it. When you stand by your values, you draw the right people in and push the wrong ones out. And that's what makes you magnetic, not because you chase admiration, but because you've earned it. You don't just walk with confidence, you walk with character. And that's final mark of a truly attractive older man. The man who doesn't demand respect, because he already commands it. Conclusion. Here's the truth few talk about. Youth may shine, but maturity glows. The older you get, the more your energy refines, sharper, deeper, calmer. Attraction isn't about chasing women or proving your worth. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to. So if you've noticed that women respect you more, if you carry yourself with quiet certainty, if peace has replaced panic, you're not losing your edge. You've just evolved beyond it. You've entered a stage where your energy speaks louder than words. And that, my friend, is what makes you truly magnetic. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.